What's up, everybody? I'm Tim. That's Joey. That's Greg. What a
Now,
fun
did you hold
combo of
because
people we have
you had
here.
that moment of like we didn't decide who was introducing? I
It
thought
was it was a combination of that. I didn't click the watch stream yet, so I wasn't sure exactly
fair,
what was
fair
going
enough.
on. And it's
Fair.
like, usually there's an intro and stuff. I knew there wasn't going to be for this, but I got in my head.
Yeah.
I got in my
Evan's being a
head.
great producer for us and a great husband to Paula, so he's whispering. So like that's where the energy's at for us starting
We get
the stream.
ASMR
Like, cool.
Kevin.
Exactly.
It's
No,
very
but I mean,
NPR kind of funny.
yeah, it doesn't need to be anything fancy. This isn't necessarily a podcast. This isn't necessarily a conventional Twitch stream you might be used to here on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. It's just a little update, a little check-in. We like to do this every year around the halfway mark, usually a little bit after the halfway mark, because if you are new here, what we usually do at Kind of Funny is every year we celebrate what we call Kind of Funny Day, which was the anniversary of us leaving IGN to start Kind of Funny, which was originally January 5th. But over time, we've kind of turned it into the first Monday back of the year, which I think next year results in January 3rd being the day we're back. It might be the second.
You
Whatever
saw
it
the
is.
video. Everybody
You
saw the
know
video.
what we're talking about, right?
They know.
Yeah. So just, first Monday back, we do a big 12-hour live stream. We try to build a lot of excitement for the year, kind of explain all the things we're doing. And we look at it as a refresh point for Kind of Funny, reflecting on the previous year we had, making as many changes as we possibly can to better stuff, and leaving the things alone that don't need any changes that everyone's liking, both on the audience side and on our side, whether it's workload or just kind of passion and, kind of assessing our resources and our mental well-being and brain power and all that stuff, and who should be doing what, where, when, why, all that stuff, right? And it's a good time. Usually or at least this year, because of the weird situation we're in with the world, we really focused on the first 6 months of 2021, because the plan was the second 6 months we were hoping to be in the studio. We've been building our brand new studio for the last couple of years, which is crazy to say, and that's come with obviously a lot of bad things as we've been talking about. But for a long time we had to rent both our old studio and our new studio while building it out because of the corona situation, the cost of goods like wood and steel and electricity stuff. Do you know you could run out of electricity? I learned that last week. Anyways, that's a whole thing that we're dealing with building. I don't know. There's something people were explaining these to me, and I'm like, I understand this exactly as much as I need to, Greg. Not
you understand enough
anymore.
that it's a Kevin and Nick problem.
Exactly.
You guys do it. Go ahead.
Yeah.
We'll make content that'll help us make money, and then we'll spend it on getting more electricity.
Yes. And so where this ends up at is we were planning all things going how we thought they would in a perfect world, knowing full well that might not be the case, that we were going to be back in the studio in August. So that's why we really focused a lot of our conversation on the first 6 months. And then we do the thermometer thing that's more just like the whole year, that's like extra stuff on top, right? But that didn't happen. Here we are. It's August 18th, and we are not in the studio. We have a bunch of questions you guys wrote in that we're going to be getting to throughout this little town hall. We asked you to submit questions about the content, about how you think things are going, if you have any things you want some clarity on. And so that's kind of what we want to do today. How does that sound, Greg and Joey?
It sounds great, Sam, and we're excited to be here.
Hell yeah.
Woo!
Hell yeah. Me too, my friends.
Speed it up because I want to play Black Panther after this. Come on.
Okay, cool. I will speed it up, everybody. We'll get into
Take
it.
all the time we want. Let's do this. There's nothing I love more than shop talk behind the scenes, what's going on and what we're thinking about.
Yeah, exactly. And just to start this off at the top, it's not like we're announcing anything crazy right now. This is a check-in for sure.
This is on what we did in January.
Yeah, it's updates on things and kind of letting you guys know what our plan is for the rest of the year, which we'll be working from home still, and with Greg's baby on the way, like all that stuff. We just want to be as transparent as possible with you guys. So there will always be questions, but we're going to try to answer as many of them as possible, so you guys can then help us answer the questions when other people ask them that aren't part of this right now, because that's how this all works. It's a team. So just wanted to go through a lot of the goals that we put up in January and the status of them thus far, of where we're at. We said we were going to do another 12-hour stream in January. We did that, and then going forward, like we announced, we're doing our daily Twitch streams. They have been a major success thanks to you guys showing up. Snow Mike has been absolutely killing it, as have his entire cast of co-hosts that he's been having each and every week. It's been a lot of fun seeing everyone kind of come into their own for the Greg Miller days versus a Blessing day versus a Nick and Andy day and everything in between. So that's been super awesome. Another thing that we said we were going to do based on the success of the passion project that was Barrett Courtney's The Legend of Zelda in review, we were going to do Barrett's Assassin's Creed in review. And that went up. Kev, if you could bring that up just for a sec to people can see. It is at nearing 67,000 views. So thank you guys so much.
Zowie.
Hell yeah, man. Like that's super cool. Barrett loves doing this type of stuff. Obviously, it's a lot more work than a lot of the things that we do here at Kind of Funny and Kind of Funny Games. So definitely show this some love. And if you have ideas or things that you'd want to see, like please let us know and we'll always consider it. One of the things that we promised on top of that was a Barrett Courtney Batman Arkham video essay series that was going to be a 4-part series going through the different Batman Arkham games. And we have a little fun announcement about that, Kev. Send a video to assets if you want to pull that up.
Well, Kev pulls it up. It'll be worth pointing out that right as we went live, something went horribly wrong. And so Kevin had to restart a bunch of different stuff. So there it is. Ooh, rewind it from the front. Yeah, let me see it all the way.
Can we hear it, Kev?
Can't remember, of course, Kevin trying to be a good husband and a good producer. He can't talk. Yes. There it is. We hear it now, Kev. Thanks. But scroll all the way back. Let me see. Yeah. The Arkham Files. 4 episodes this October, hosted by Barrett Courtney and edited by Roger Perconi.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. He's been working on this for a while. Each episode is going to be one of the different Arkham games. And Arkham Knight, I think it's the plan right now is to have it release every Monday in October, except for the last one, Arkham Knight, will release on Halloween.
Ooh.
Let's get spooky. Let's have fun.
Are these games spooky? I haven't played them.
Bear Corny just popped in the chat.
Yo, what up?
Are these games spooky?
They can be. There's definitely some scary elements around each of them, I would say. As a big scary cat when it comes to scary games, like there's some moments that get me, but like I can get through them, so I don't think they're that bad.
Yeah. And just this is actually a really good time to bring up some transparency stuff. Like this is an example of best laid plans, where the reason we chose October was Barrett and I were making some educated guesses on when do we think Gotham Knights is coming out. It'd probably be October, but that was something we decided months ago, and here we are. So we're still doing it this month, or in October, but just understand things happen, and that's a great example of it.
Yeah, the original plan was to release them once a week, leading up to the release of Gotham Knights, and then of course Gotham Knights got delayed, and we're like, all right, well, we gotta think of another plan here.
So motherfuckers, when we start re-promoting these leading up to Gotham Knights, click on them again back then.
Yeah.
Right? When we, next year when we start, Gotham Knights is coming and we're talking about it. You got to click on that. You got to retweet it. You got to share. You got to do it this time too.
Yeah.
I'll be checking on your Twitters. If I don't see your retweets, there'll be problems.
But yeah, I'm excited for this one. I love the Arkham games. I know people have asked for Arkham in review before. I don't think that would be nearly as interesting because I play them all the time. I know how I would rank them. So we're doing something a little different. We're diving deep into specific themes and kind of gameplay ideas for each video, and having like a kind of specific story told for each video that I believe will tie up in a fun way in the last episode, which will be about Arkham Knight. And also, like the promotion said, it's Roger who's editing these, because he just has that polish, that clean polish for video edits that I think will be great for this video essay series. So yeah, check it out. First episode will premiere October 11th. That'll be the second Monday of October, and then pretty much weekly and Monday, except for Arkham Knight, which will premiere on Halloween, which is the day that Arkham Knight takes place.
Ooh, there we go. There's some synergy, baby. You'll love to see it.
All right, bye guys.
Bye. Thank you. Hard to find in the chat says you can pencil me in for 2 views each. So there we go.
That's what we need. That's what
on
we
a
need.
Good track. Right? On a good track.
We're gonna go through every single listing of the people who've looked at them. If we don't see you twice, we're banning you.
Speaking of things that would love to get some views, we also promised a KFAF special event, another one. We did the Nug Dome, and we're like, we got to do it again. And Andy Cortez did it the only way he knows how, with some Arizona festivities. You can go find this video on our youtube.com/kindoffunnyplays channel. It is an hour and 50 minutes of utter insanity of Andy being trapped in Arizona, actually, as you can see there. So definitely check that out. It's a lot of fun. Another thing that we announced was we wanted to start the Blessing Show, which was going to be a video essay semi-weekly series where Blessing and Roger were going to partner to make some super damn dope stuff, including what you're seeing here, an entire episode made in dreams, celebrating dreams and all of that stuff. And what's really, really cool is this video is performing very well, but it's not performing as well as another thing we promised, which was going to be Greg Miller hosting an episode of The Blessing Show, which he did. And he did it all about how to fix Avengers.
Kevin, get this Dreams episode off the screen and show my episode, the most successful episode of The Blessing Show. All about Marvel's Avengers, hosted by me, ladies and gentlemen. How are you? Sorry, Blessing.
Yeah. So here's the deal, everybody watching right now. If everyone on Twitch went over and watched Blessing's Dreams video, it would end up getting more views than Greg's Avengers one. So, like, please, for the love of God, can we make the Blessing Dreams video the #1 Blessing Show episode? Because I'm just sick of this tyrant Greg Miller out here.
This is how you want to do, ladies and gentlemen. You want to give this young buck Blessing this kind of boost of confidence, like, you know, because I see him out there, future class of video games. I see him out there guesting on every shows. I see him out there doing his own Twitch streams. Somebody's got to keep him in his place. And if it's Greg Miller coming in to be the most successful episode of the Blessing Show, I say we let the good times roll, ladies and gentlemen. I already showed Andy and Nick how short they are, right? Every episode of KFAF that features me more popular than the last one, where they were like, guess what? This soda, let's take a bath in it. Stupid. You put Greg Miller in the thumbnail.
Soda, let's take a bath in it. I love it. I love the Greg energy. But yeah, Greg did the episode of Blessing Show, like we said, and we were going to double the season run of the Blessing Show, which we did. Blessing and Roger absolutely killed it. Every episode was fantastic. But then now we're at this point where, again, transparency, a lot of our plans change. We announce stuff, and at the end of the day, everything we ever announce is just to make the best content we possibly can at the time we are deciding to do it. And sometimes that stuff happens and it's great. Sometimes it doesn't happen. Sometimes everywhere in between. We've been better about making sure that we're doing things and like acting on them to get them done in time. But when we don't, we try to come up with really good options and really good kind of things that we believe in that are the best thing to do at the time. So that means we're going to keep doing the Blessing Show for the rest of this year. Blessing actually just put up a new episode a couple days ago about Returnal and Hades changing the game. It's a little bit different of a format. This one was a bigger project between him and Roger. It is 20 minutes as opposed to the more shorter form stuff that they've been working on. It's really, really, really good. You should go check it out. And they will be doing 3 more episodes of The Blessing Show. Maybe not all in this style. They might be more the traditional shorter episodes, but they're trying to figure it out. They're trying to find a vibe. And I'm loving it. It's really, really fantastic content. Honestly, some of the best content Kind of Funny's ever made. So definitely go support it. And yeah, we will be doing 3 more episodes of that in 2021. To satiate all the needs out there of you beautiful, beautiful kids. Then the next thing, we've been doing the Kind of Funnies weekly comics. We promised we were going to do 6 months of those. It's August. We've been doing more than 6 months of those. So that's really exciting. But all good things need to come to an end. Next week will be the final comic panel of the Kind of Funny series. If you haven't seen these, you should go check out Instagram.com/kindoffunnyvids. They're all there. Josh Strickland killing the game. So good. So many fun memories. And he really gets like some jokes that we wouldn't necessarily ever latch onto, but then he kind of like makes his own little story with it. The art's fantastic. And next week's the finale is one you guys are going to want to keep your eyes peeled for, because it is. I've been seeing the little demos of it, and it's awesome. And there's a lot of Easter eggs and a lot of really fun stuff. So shout out to Josh there. Not Pixar in Review. Kind of funny in review. There was a whole bunch of them that we've promised over the last 2 years with how movies have been delayed and everything's gotten complicated and all shooken up. But we've done 99% of them, done and finished. And there's a few percent that we're still working on and we'll finish very soon, including Pixar in review. We have 3 more to do. We've been doing it all year. I misspoke in review a couple days ago. We have Incredibles 2 next week, and then we have Onward and then Soul, and that will wrap up Pixar in review, which I can't believe, Joey. I thought we were going to be doing that for years.
Forever. It just seemed like the big giant at the top of the hill that we were just never going to beat. And here we are.
Here we
Close
are.
to the finish line. I'm excited. Yeah. I've never seen The Incredibles 3.
Ooh. And speaking of big giants, we also did Godzilla and Kong in review. We did Edgar Wright in review, Magic Mike in review, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in review, all things that we promised we were going to. Jurassic Park is one we promised. We are actually going to do that leading into Jurassic Park Dominion in next year when it comes out in June. We had always planned on doing this one in the studio, having that energy. Jurassic Park's one of those prestige franchises. You know what I'm talking about, Greg?
Totally, 100%. That's a big one. That's one you got to make a big deal about.
Exactly. And like I said, we were planning on being back in the studio this year, and we're not. So that sucks. But it's in its place. We have done a lot of other review series that were all for the fans. It's all stuff that people were requesting, things that we wouldn't necessarily have done, especially at the time. Things like Mortal Kombat, and especially including Balls of Fury in that. That one's on y'all. That one's on y'all. Doing Conjuring in review, doing the Miyazaki films in review, and definitely Indiana Jones was one that everyone's like, Blessing didn't watch Indiana Jones. We got to fix that. So that's kind of an example for me of just like us looking at the situation we're in and trying to make the best choices based on what you guys want then, and keep going from there. So 2 other ones that we have talked about in the past that keep getting punted because of the world: Top Gun in review and Ghostbusters in review. Now here's the situation, everybody. Top Gun in review, the plan as it stands now, do it this year. Do Top Gun leading into Top Gun Maverick. I'm very excited about that until everything gets delayed and we don't do that. But for now, that's the plan. On the other side, Ghostbusters in review. We're facing not 1, but 2 issues. There's the global pandemic issue, and there is the Greg's baby is imminent issue. So Greg Miller, what are we doing about Ghostbusters?
So, as you all know, I'm sure there's a bunch of other crap happening in the world each and every day to distract you. But the most important thing is that, you know, in November, Ghostbusters Afterlife is coming to a theater near you. And of course, you know that Jason Reitman just has continued to say only in theaters, which really sucks. The deal is, Timothy, is that my baby is due at the beginning of October, which makes the normal lead up of an in review very difficult to nail. Because again, we like to, the point of in review is to lead up to one theatrical thing that's going to go do it, right? That's almost impossible now with Ghostbusters and having a baby. So the idea is that we are going to pre-record Ghostbusters in review, correct, Tim?
Yes, that is.
We're going to start up Ghostbusters in review. We're going to pre-record them, hold them a little bit closer to launch so that they can actually line up if Ghostbusters Afterlife doesn't move. Correct, Tim?
Mm-hmm. That is correct.
If it moves, when are you going to still put them out?
We're going to have to. We'll put them out. What? Look, we'll have to figure it out. We don't know what's
Depends
happening.
on how far it gets punted. There's so many factors.
The thing within review, ideally, it's us leading into the hype of a new movie coming out. There's a lot of times that's not going to be the case. There's a lot of franchises that we don't necessarily need to do that for. It's like, okay, we're just going to get this done so we're prepared to be able to add the new one later. But there's just a lot of trying to manage schedules and stuff. So to the best of our abilities, the plan is we're pre-recording all the Ghostbusters in review starting this week. We'll be doing that. This wasn't part of the weekly schedule that Joey sent out earlier, but she's going to update it with the Patreon links because we decided that, you guys should be able to watch live with us if you want. Why the hell not? So for Ghostbusters 1, 2, and 2016, over the next couple weeks, stay tuned to the schedule for that, for the pre-recorded stuff that will go on YouTube leading into Ghostbusters Afterlife. Hopefully, fingers crossed. And for that, Kevin, can you please show off the fancy new Ghostbusters in review intro by Cameron Kennedy?
Woo!
The man, the myth, the legend, the bossa nova from Nova Scotia.
It runs better when it's not when we're not feathering the pause button, but it works.
That is some hotness. I've never seen that.
Hold on. Was that Jen at the end?
So that's the Milk Mommy Ghost.
Oh my God.
I know, we see it. Yeah.
And
we see it.
yes, that is in fact Jen Miller
Sexy Slimer.
in this sexy
Big Red.
Slimer. Never
Yeah.
ever forget.
Incredible.
And so, yeah, worth pointing out here, because I know my child, the impending birth of my child, is going to be a conversation as we get deeper into this. But Ghostbusters in Review falls into the same thing, right? Where I will not be going to movie theaters anytime soon due to the Delta variant, due to Jen having a lowered immune system, due to my baby be eventually born with no immune system. And so what that means for the actual in review of episode of Ghostbusters Afterlife is still a little bit of a shrug in the air. I saw a lot of people, I've already talked about this beforehand, a lot of people already going by in the chat saying, oh, just rent out a movie theater. That's totally an option. That might happen, but it also might mean that Ghostbusters Afterlife doesn't happen on the day and date like we like it to, right? Like we want all this to do that.
As of last week, Greg, their movie theaters are offering private theaters for day and date movies.
Oh,
so
well,
things
then,
are looking good.
We would definitely do that.
Things are looking good. But anyways, like I said, that's right now. Everything can change. But rest assured, Greg Miller will be part of Ghostbusters in Review. We won't do it without him. That would be insane. And
can you imagine the riots that would led by Greg
I
Miller?
would riot. I would riot if I was.
Exactly. We'll figure it out. Don't worry. Don't worry. We appreciate your patience. Yeah. Let's talk later. Let's talk later. So then later on, moving on from that, a lot of people wrote in asking questions. I tried boiling down the questions to be able to answer as many as possible here. People were asking, what's the plan for in review for the rest of 2021? Starting this week, we are beginning, like I said, we're finishing out Pixar in review, and we're going to start Scream in review. Kevin, can you please play the intro for that? There you go, everybody. Scream in review. It is going to be me, Joey Noel, Nick Scarpino, James, and Elise Willems making our return to some horror stuff. Very exciting. This is an example of what I'm talking about, Al, we're doing this to lead into Scream 5 that's coming out in January. But because of the way we work and because December always gets complicated for us, we're not going to be able to lead right in. So we're leading in now to be able to prepare, getting that Halloween spooky spirit, Joey. So we're ready to add it next year in studio, hopefully, fingers crossed, doing Scream 5 in review. So that's going to be a lot of fun. But then going forward, I want to just be as transparent as possible with you about the plan for in review for the rest of the year. Again, take this with a grain of salt. So much might change and shift things around to make this not happen, but this is the plan for right now.
If I had $1 for every time this has already changed, even in like the last month that Tim and I have been trying to work on this.
I know, but it's pretty simple right now. So I think I'm just letting you guys know so you know what homework you're gonna have, what you can plan to watch the next couple months. Pixar in review, finishing that out. Scream in review, we're going to be doing Scream 1, 2, 3, and 4 in the next couple weeks. MCU in review, obviously, we're going to return for Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. We're going to do one for What If, Eternals, Spider-Man No Way Home, and Hawkeye, which probably will be beginning of 2022 based on how the numbers of the episodes look. Spider-Man in review, we're going to return to that with Venom 2. Halloween in review, we're going to do Halloween 1978, Halloween 2018, and then the new Halloween Kills. I want to somewhere sneak in Kingsman in review. A lot of you guys have been asking for that, and the third movie keeps getting punted. Right now, they're saying it's December. I really don't believe that. But either way, there's two movies. I'm hoping to fit them in somewhere. Get excited about that. Like I said, Ghostbusters in review and Top Gun in review are both things that we're planning to do this year, and that's pretty much the year for in review. One other thing I wanted to bring up, though, is a lot of you writing in here and over the last couple months on Patreon brought up some really good ideas when it comes to in review, and that is kind of creating a sub show within it sometimes of going back to the main purpose of the show, which was building into the hype of a new movie coming out. So every once in a while, for some of the bigger hitters, we're actually going to go back and watch one of the movies leading into the new one coming out to just like get some of that energy back. So for example, next year, going into Wakanda Forever, we're going to watch Black Panther again. We're not going to re-rank it. We're not going to do all that stuff, but we're going to redo the plot, have a lot of fun, get refamiliarized with the characters and all this stuff. Same thing for Doctor Strange. I'm even planning on doing it this year for Venom, leading into Venom 2, so we can make sure that we know all the locations. And that lobster we can never forget. But it's just going to be fun because at the end of the day, In Review's all about us having fun with like a movie book club type thing, rewatching things, talking about together, see how our thoughts have changed and all that. So I'm really, really excited about that. Aaron Roots 427 in the chat saying no Matrix in review. Well, yes, we will do a Matrix in review. When, how, I don't know. Matrix 4 is another one that I'm like, I don't believe it's coming out in December. So I'm a little concerned, like prepping that too soon, but.
Did it not get punted?
No, it didn't. Not as far as I know.
I thought it was coming out the same day as John Wick.
That was 3 punts ago.
Oh, got it.
But anyway, we'll see. But yes, Matrix in review is going to happen. Unfortunately, since it's December, since we're making the new studio and all that stuff, just understand we're doing our best. That's where that lies. But I think you guys are going to like it with how all this stuff is going. And then screencast. Another thing I wanted to talk about is that is something that we decided to bring back last week, at least the branding of. We're going to be doing at least one episode every week, and that allows us to be really nimble and do one-off movie reviews, TV show reviews, whether it's just the premiere or the finale or episode by episode or an entire season review. And we've kind of shown examples of that the last couple weeks where we've been doing movie reviews for M. Night Shyamalan's Old and Jungle Cruise, The Green Knight, Free Guy. Like those were all movie reviews. On the TV show side, we did a full season review of The Bad Batch, Star Wars The Bad Batch you can check out. And then what you're looking at here is we just did a more classic style screencast that's what we've been watching, where we got together, talked about all the different TV shows that we weren't necessarily going to make their own video, but we wanted to talk about, and that's where we covered Dave season 2 and Blind Spotting, Mythic Quest, Never Have I Ever, and like we talked about a long time ago, covering High School Musical, the musical of the series, season 1, season 2. We do a little fun ragu bagu. We do some fun stuff in there to what's your appetite for Ignacio Rojas and all the three stands out there for that. But very good conversation. It's live now. You can go check it out. But that's kind of the idea going forward. A lot of people were asking, what's the difference between screencast and reactions and in review? And to put it simply, screencast is anytime we are reviewing a movie or TV show that we just watched, and it's probably going to be shorter form, more like 20-minute style content. It's going to be on YouTube and podcast services. But it's just kind of our initial thoughts and no plot, none of that. It's just a review. And then in review is where we do the book club thing, where we actually go through the plot, talk about it all, have the dumb podcast within a podcast, Ragu Bagu and Haiku and review, and then we actually rank the movies or TV shows against each other. And then trailer reactions is just trailer reactions. That is going to be a YouTube-only product of us reacting to the latest trailers. We've been doing a whole bunch of them, and we're going to continue to do it. But those are the 3 entertainment properties that we have at Kind of Funny. And hopefully we made these changes to clear it up so it's less confusing than everything being called review and reactions in different ways. So screencast it is. It's a podcast. Love you guys. Other things we promised, Andy and Bless were going to play some scary games. They beat Resident Evil 7. They played a shit ton of Resident Evil 8. I don't know if they ever actually beat it, but you can check out all those videos over on youtube.com/kindoffunnyplays. Roger did some edited breakdowns over on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames if you want a little less like just the highlights. So that's really cool. And speaking of the streams, just wanted to give a major shout out to youtube.com/kindoffunnyplays. It's been awesome. You guys have been showing up, watching all the daily streams we've been doing as they kind of head over there. And I really, really, really want to give a shout out to Barrett and Snowbike Mike for their Metal Gear Solid playthroughs that they've been doing. They did MGS 1 and then it turned into recently MGS 2. And it has been an absolute blast to see these boys play these masterpieces for the first time, and it really is a nostalgic trip. Timur Hussein's been popping in. He is a freaking well of knowledge. I don't understand how one man can know so much about so many things, but these streams, I highly, highly recommend it. So far, these are my favorite streams that we've done, so they're going to continue. Please go check that out. we said we were going to do a full playthrough of Emily is Away. We are making our way through that. Parts 1 and 2 are up right now on our YouTube channels, and part 3 will be this Saturday. Greg and I will return to the world of Emily is Away as we make our way through. Will we beat it in this sitting? Hopefully, but probably not. But we will beat it eventually. I promise you. It's been so much fun. So go check that out. Details will be coming soon. Twitter.com/kindoffunnyvids. We're doing a whole 12-hour stream on Saturday. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And then moving on, another thing we said we're going to do, Greg was going to play through Infamous 1, the entire game, the PS3 classic Infamous. And now he's going to start doing it starting next week, I think. Today he's doing the Avengers stream, but the next Greg Miller stream, and every Greg Miller stream going forward, it's going to be Greg playing through Infamous in what he's calling Greg Miller's Infamous Baby Race. Every Greg stream after today's Avengers stream is Infamous. Can he finish before his son arrives? The race is on, everybody. We'll see. Where's your money, Joey?
I mean, here's the thing. I know literally nothing about Infamous, so I have no idea how long it is. I think, based on nothing, I think their baby is going to be early. So I think he won't do it. I don't think he'll make it.
Yeah.
Sorry, Greg.
I believe in him.
I think the baby's going to be on time and no chance in hell. In fact, the baby's going to be 3 days late, but no chance in hell he makes it. I'm just saying that right now. There he is.
I don't know.
So proud.
I don't know. A lot of shit being talked, Greg Miller. Can
About
you beat
what?
it about the Greg Miller's Infamous Baby
Before
Race?
Clark
I
Egon
beat my
Miller
baby?
gets here.
Can I
you
beat the baby? That's
Mhm.
the big question. If I can beat my baby, and if I can actually play all of Infamous 1 by the time this kid arrives. And that's the thing. September, ladies and gentlemen, every one of my streams with Snowbike Mike each and every Wednesday will be dedicated to Infamous.
There we go.
But the problem is I'm racing this child that's supposed to get here in October, but you know how kids are. They can do whatever the hell they want to.
Mhm. I believe in you, though.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I think Greg's going to do it.
It's
but-
the rule, right, that I have to stream everything. So I wouldn't be surprised if, I try to make up time when I'm in between games or something in this time period where I stream at night one day, just out of the blue, 10 o'clock, I pop on Twitch. I'm doing it there.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know you could do that.
Oh.
That's
Oh,
pretty
yeah,
Those
cool.
are
that's
different
why.
rules then. I might want to
Yeah,
change my
yeah.
answer.
I'm sorry. I had to take care of my other baby, Porty, right, who's having a rough day over here. And it's one of those things of, listen, it's me versus the baby. Who can get, if I can beat Infamous or the baby gets here first. And so for me, gloves are off. I can, as long as it's happening on stream, that counts towards me versus the baby.
Sure.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
And your chances
Moving on
loved
from
it.
there, another kind of honey podcast is going to happen, like we said, and that is being scheduled right now for the next few weeks. At some point, I don't know if there's a more dialed in thing there, but like expect it in the next two or so weeks, right, Joey?
Yeah, we're trying to dial in exact dates, but we have a week
Yeah,
at least narrowed
yeah.
down to.
Good enough.
Absolutely.
A starting point.
Yeah, it's life's crazy, guys. But then moving on. A month of Oreo oration. Everybody, it's back. Everyone's favorite cookie and everyone's favorite show about that favorite cookie is coming back. 4 episodes in November are going to happen. Greg Miller is going to pre-record some content because, as we'll get to in a second, he's going to be gone for like 3 months when this baby pops out. So we're trying to pre-record some content from Greg so you're not losing that lovable face and getting all that action. Ain't that right, Greg?
That's 100% correct, everybody. I know it's going to be hard without me. You know what I mean? You're going to show up on these streams. You're going to show up on these podcasts. Be like, where is the person who will talk about Avengers? Where is the person who will talk about Ghostbusters? And I'm going to make sure that I'm there to talk about Oreo. So you get a little bit of your Greg Miller fix.
Yep. You'll love to see it. And then the last things to give an update on in terms of the things that we promised are some stuff that we just can't really do right now or need to wait for, like the up-and-comers like we announced last year. That is still a thing. We're waiting for the studio. That will happen. We will fly 2 people out for a week at Kind of Funny, get them on content, use our platform to boost theirs and all that stuff. It's very cool. The basketball event, cooking with Jen. These are all things that, yes, we're going to do. We just need to wait till the world and us are in a better place to be able to do all of that. And Greg, the community podcastathons. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. If you remember, in January, we announced one of the fundraising goals on the thermometer was community podcastathons, which would be me streaming from twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames 9 to 5, I believe, with a 1-hour lunch break and doing hour-long blocks of podcasts where basically I dial into your podcasts and then we use our platform, obviously, to elevate the fact and listen in on the shows you recorded, and then you put up the show wherever you want to. Of course, we did that in January, and that, I think February is when I found out Jen was pregnant, right? And so as that happened, weekends became super sacred because the idea, of course, was that, hey, I'll do them on Saturdays. That way I don't affect a normal work day. That way I can do all the normal work and work an extra day, have a 6-day work week, right? But as we shifted over to getting our heads wrapped around being parents, right, the weekend became even more sacred than it already was. So I kind of painted myself in a corner by doing the, oh, I'll get to it. So the way I've wrapped my head around it is obviously we're still going to do it. There's just no time right now in this literal race to the finish line of October right now for us having this child. So my thought process talking to Tim with it is that I want to come back when I'm back in January, when I come back to work and when we have the brand new studio. A great way to show off the studio and of course make it a bigger event is to do the podcast-a-thons there. My thought process would be is that I'm probably going to break them up. I think you'll end up having it be where it's like, hey, Friday afternoons for an entire month, whatever it is, to net out those same amount of hours. But obviously with a new baby, my weekends will continue to be sacred as well. And so it's about trying to find that work-life balance we talk so much about. So yeah, the work-life balance that works for me is, of course, punting it out of this year and doing it next year when we get over to the new studio and have the new space and have, I was about to say what the studio looks like, but I won't. When the studio looks dope as hell and we can do everything there.
Yes, exactly.
Engine25 in the chat says, can we still apply for this? We have not opened submissions. This is something we talked about in January, and then me and Jory are like, we'll make a Google Doc, and then I found out that Jen was pregnant, and we haven't moved on anything since then. So this is not something you've missed. There'll still be a chance to get into it.
Yeah, 100%. Like there will be a very clear way that once we have the actual plan and dates locked in, and then we'll be able to be like, cool, this is what we need from you. Go and let's go from there. And speaking of that, actually, that's a great segue into a question that a lot of people were asking. I want to talk about the studio a little bit with you guys, give you some updates on that. But starting with something we offered on our Patreon, which is everybody that supported, I think it was in 2020, gets their name on the wall in the studio, emblazoned in all its glory. And we're very excited about that. And a lot of people were writing in like, wait, hey, what's happening with that? Like, how do I get my name a specific way and all that? And Joey, you have your answers.
Here I am. I have a Google form that I've been sitting on for like the past year and a half that I'll be sending out the first week of September. We haven't sent it out yet because I figured we were going to get a lot of, I changed my mind, or I want this, or all that stuff. And we didn't even have walls, and maybe we don't even have walls in the studio yet.
No spoilers for what the studio looks like. Are there walls? You'll have to wait and find out.
Yeah, exactly. Wait till January 3rd. So yeah, I'll be sending that out the first week of September. There are 5,000 people that are on this list of people that are either new or increase their Patreon pledge in January of 2020 by at least $1. So the form that I have built out is like very specific in the way that like I need your name and your email that are connected to your Patreon account. And I know that people don't like to read emails and forms and anything that's on it. But if it would say, because I have to go through each one of these and match them up. And if you guys do it this way, then I can use like Excel formulas so that I don't have to match 5,000 things by hand. So if you could like pretty please just read the directions and fill it out correctly, that would save me like hours and hours and hours of time. So yeah, it'll go out the first week of September. I also have to, I might have to figure out like a distribution list so that maybe everybody gets them on the same day, but I'm working on that. So yeah, exactly. Trevor Starkey says, hooray for VLOOKUP. Exactly. I'm trying to do this all by hand. So yeah, that's going to be coming out. You'll be able to like customize how you want your name. Cause maybe you want to be Trevor Starkey. Maybe you don't want to use your like, email, like username from when you were 13, you know?
Yeah. Or if you do, that's cool too. But yeah, in the next couple of weeks, that'll be sent out. It'll be emailed to all of you that have pledged, and it'll be available. If anyone sees questions, please let them know that, because that's how it's going to be handled. There'll be a cutoff time because we need to actually get stuff on the walls, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be cool. But yeah, talking about the studio, the update is as follows. We are building, and there have been a lot of setbacks. And the plan, as it stands right now, is still January 3rd. We're getting real butt up to that. And everyone just expect the unexpected. We don't know where things are, but we are going forward and planning and doing everything we can to make all that stuff happen. But with the Delta variant, with everything going on, like who knows where the world's going to be. But I just wanted to be honest with you guys and let you know where that's at. But it is coming along. It's dope as fuck. I can't wait. I wish Kevin could talk right now, but he's muted in silence, but he is extremely excited about it as well.
I can't wait. I legitimately can't wait.
Yeah.
I'm also very excited for this to be over at some point.
Yeah, Kevin and I went last weekend to go check it out a little bit, and just seeing it come along is like, okay, this is gonna be fucking awesome. But yeah, just be patient. We'll keep you guys updated with as much information as we have, but just know that as of right now, the plan is still January 3rd. For that launch.
Lenart NL in the chat has the classic Miyamoto line: "A delayed studio is eventually good, but a rush studio is forever bad." I remember when Miyamoto said that.
Yep. And then there were a lot of questions being written in about the studio launch party and what the plans are with that. The plans with that are it is off the table for now until the world is at a better place that that is totally safe and allowed. The world has changed where it's even harder to get permits to be able to have that many people in a space, which was something we were dealing with in 2019 when we were first talking about this, and here we are now. So the long story short is we definitely want to do that. We are building the studio with that in mind. There is a live component to how we are building the studio. So fingers crossed, we are hoping we'll be able to do that. And I feel like we're gonna do it. But it won't be like in January. It won't be.
Yeah, it's going to be a spiritual launch party. It will be the celebration of the launch, but it won't be. It's not going to be launch date. It will not be January. We're talking right now about what Delta and any other variant's going to do to the fact of like, will we be there in January? We hope so. You think so? It's probable, but what if not? So we're worried about getting the 11 of us full-timers in there, right? Not even worrying about the fact we want to bring in 1,000 of you or thousands of you to do this. We understand that was the promise. You understand that's the vision. We're on the same page that we want to do it. But of course, there are a million factors to that and where the world's at and pandemics and things. And I mean, think about it right now, right? Like, and I'm painting with a broad brush and speaking on my ass to some degree, right? But I don't expect that by the time we get to January, when we launch the studio, that there is a vaccine for children as young as my child, as young as my son, right? And so then would you want to do the launch party without me? Like, you know, even if that was like what we're not even, there's so much to figure out and extrapolate out as the world continues to change.
Yeah, totally. So obviously, I think a lot of this stuff just boils down to we're trying our best, and we're really trying our best to like adapt and change and do the right things, even if it wasn't part of the plan. So hopefully that is speaking to you guys. And it seems to be like, honestly, we say this like every year, but it's like, this has been the best year of Kind of Funny that we've had. Like, I feel like the team's firing on all cylinders. We all seem happy. The audience seems to be really loving what we're putting out, and we're putting out more quality content than ever. So keep us honest, keep us up, but that's just where we're at with that. But yeah, that's really the studio update. Not much to say, but it is going well. I don't want it to sound all doom and gloom. It is going well, and it is going to be the fucking coolest thing you have ever seen. Like, y'all are not ready at all for the type of shit that we have planned. So then moving on from that, the big question that we were asked a bazillion times, what's the plan with Greg's baby? I know we've talked about this a couple times in different places. And this also kind of falls into a lot of people asking, like, is Janet a part-timer, or does she just host a lot of things? And this is a perfect example of Kind of Funny doing so much content that even though we've answered these questions in different avenues, that information doesn't get sent everywhere. And it's hard to do that. That's why we're doing this town hall. So, Greg?
What's the plan with my baby? It's a great question. Of course, Jen and I are expecting our son on October 7th, 2021, which is coming up incredibly fast if you didn't know. You know, the too long didn't read part of this is if you are a Patreon Platinum member, basically at some point you're going to get a link and it's going to say, here is the delivery room. Do you want to watch Jen give birth to Greg? No, it's not gonna happen. Yeah, October 7th.
I was like, we have not talked about this.
And as I lovingly refer to it as, I feel like we're already in the splash zone, but really September will be the full on splash zone, where my plan and Jen's plan too, for, you know, her job, but more importantly for you guys, is that my plan is to treat September as normal. I'm on all the normal shows. I'm doing all the normal stuff. And I should say into October as well, I'm doing all my normal stuff. If you were paying attention, which you wouldn't be, because it's not a big deal, right? I'm not taking gigs in September, really. I'm not taking podcast appearances, even. And I know I don't do like fan stuff, but I'm like Game Informer and me are trying to work something out. It's not going to happen. It's just not. It's too tight. So it's going to be strictly Kind of Funny stuff, but it's strictly Kind of Funny stuff with a big old eject button. That as soon as it happens, I'm off to the hospital with Jen, and then the plan is once the baby arrives, is that Jen and I take those 3 months off to figure out how to be mom and dad, how to be parents, to meet our son, start, learning with him. And so that is the long and short of it. 3 months off off is loose, right? As you can't sleep and do all this stuff and learn how to be parents and change diapers and learn feeding schedules and yada, yada, yada. But the caveat to that is I'm still going to be watching all the Disney shows. I'm still going to be playing games, probably not as many, maybe more. It depends who you talk to about video games and babies, right? On how it all nets out. So I'm holding out the total hope that, hey man, guess what? We're, Back for Blood codes are out. I'm getting enough at my 3 a.m. to 7 a.m. shift that I have the baby in the snoo and I'm playing a game over here that I'm able to pop on those reviews and give my opinion and hang out and then bounce, but we're not promising that. And so that's why, if you're asking about Janet, yeah, Janet is an official part-timer, right? We didn't do the whole pomp and circumstance thing we would have normally done, I think, in terms of like how we revealed Andrea and Danny, but it was that thing that we did on PS I Love You XOXO. It was the idea that that show thrives on the chemistry and the hosts, and I didn't want to have a rotating chair there for Blessing. I wanted it to be that you knew who the cast was, and that's why we introduced Janet there as my, fill in whatever my part-time replacement when I do go on paternity leave. And we've been having her on most of the shows since then, of course, bringing her on. But then, of course, that opened up the avenue of like, as usual, there's so much going on that we actually needed more help on Games Daily, right? And so we reached out to her, and she was down to start doing Games Daily stuff with us. And now that's even evolved to, as you've noticed, right? She hosts the show on her own, which is like, the position, I guess, reserved and rare air of like usually like an Andrea thing, right? I think it's rare that you see someone hosting Games Daily that isn't a full-time Kind of Funny employee. And that's because, of course, if you're thrown into it every 6 months or so, what are the things? What's the bit? How do you use the doc? Janet obviously being there already so much, it was an easy transition to have her hosting that. So yeah, Janet's officially a Kind of Funny part-timer. We're going to keep using her throughout this year. She'll continue to be on, PS I Love You in my absence. And then when we come back in January, we'll reassess all that, right, and see how we go from there. But yeah, she's been killing it. The plan with the baby is for me to obviously bank some content like Ghostbusters in review, bank some more orations, continue to be part of your lives, obviously, in all the shows. And then when we get there, say I'm not on anything and hopefully over deliver on that. Because my hope, of course, is that I put the baby down for a nap and I've taken care of the chores and I've washed the thing and, Jen's fed, the baby's fed, everybody's sleeping. And I look at the camera, I'm like, oh shit, the guy's doing the podcast. Yep, I pop on and I'm on the podcast randomly for 45 minutes, just shooting the shit, talking about what it's like being a dad or whatever. Or, not all my content will be dad related, I swear. But it is,
I don't believe you, but that's okay. It's a whole new world for us, man. It's about to get weird.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting a dad cast soon from us, I'm sure. So, you know what I mean? Kind of funny day, whatever, when we announce that. But yeah, it's, we're lucky. Me and Jen, obviously, but we is Kind of Funny. And then, us as a best friend group and family are in, just in a community, right? That Kind of Funny's grown the way it has and has, built the way it has and gone out that. Cause I do remember those, first months, years of Kind of Funny, right? When it would be that I wasn't on a show and people would be like in the comments, where's Greg? Oh man, blah, blah. I don't know Tim. And clearly we all know too much about Tim now. But it is that idea, right? That we've, built this cast of characters and this, camaraderie and community that, I don't see that on Games Daily. When I remember in the old days, it was, man, he's only been on 3 Games Dailies this week. That's outrageous. This is his show. When I always wanted this to be our show, meaning, whoever the hosts are. And I feel like we've crossed that. Obviously, when we got to hire Blessing as our first full-time games host, I think that really helped solidify that he is me, right? He is doing the same stuff I am. This is his beat, his job, that he can be there and do all that. And so the fact that, Jen, and I know for our international listeners, it's not a big deal, but for the fact for an American team, right, that Jen and I can just fuck off for 3 months and I'm not worried about the ship. I'm not worried about the shows. I'm not worried about the downloads or the things. That's fantastic. And I can't thank you guys enough because that is such a weight off my shoulders, right? Like right now, spinning the plates that are Kind of Funny and the crazy things we do here and the other business opportunities we're working with through Kind of Funny. And then on top of that, the pregnancy and the OBGYN appointments and the ultrasounds. And then on top of that, this ancient fucking wiener dog. And like, I'm looking forward to only to being sleep exhausted and being like, this is all I have to do for 3 months is keep this thing alive.
All I have to do is just be tired, not be tired and have to do things.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So I can't thank you all enough, Kind of Funny best friends, for that. Obviously, yeah, I'm excited for that next portion of our life, that next, phase. And like, there's so much. I think this tomorrow's podcast, Kind of Funny podcast, we should do a catch up of what this pregnancy's been like, right? Because it's been crazy and there's so much going on. And like, I could talk for hours about this and I should stop.
But anyways, that's it. So Greg's gonna be off for 3 months, and he's gonna make his return, hopefully in the brand new studio, January 3rd. So that's gonna be extremely exciting. And otherwise, we're just gonna keep doing. That's not gonna affect the content too much. Like everything's still gonna happen, and the most important thing is Ghostbusters. So we're getting that done early.
As always, the most important thing is Ghostbusters.
As always. Let's see. Moving on here. A lot of people were asking what happened to the weekly edits of streams. That's another example of, we plan one thing and like have an idea. We hired Roger to edit things, and we're like, oh, we're gonna have you edit the streams. Pretty much immediately everyone's like, wait, we want an archive channel. So we made the Kind of Funny Plays channel. That's added workload, and it's just about redistributing where things go. And we're really happy with how that's been working with the Kind of Funny Plays stuff. And Roger's been editing streams to be content to go on Kind of Funny Games when it makes sense. We've done a couple like one-off party mode episodes, like you guys just did the Back for Blood one, right?
Yeah,
Was that party mode?
We did a Back for Blood party mode. You can get on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames.
Yeah. And so, Roger's been kind of just editing a whole bunch of stuff, and his job's just turned into being an editor for whatever makes the most sense that week.
What we need him on, right?
What we need him for. And, that's like the Barrett Arkham videos that are coming up, or just the Blessing Show as a whole, among a total like laundry list of other things. Like he edits the ads, he edits the social videos that go up, and he does edit a lot of the streams. They're just not necessarily weekly, so it's kind of more looking at it being like, what makes the most sense, what content should we be making out of the content we're making. So that is something that I don't think is going to be consistent going forward, but it will be consistently making sure he's working on the right thing to get you guys the best content possible in every which way, whether it's Kind of Funny or Kind of Funny Games. A lot of people asking about KFAF, specifically people asking,
the mean show, and it shouldn't come back.
Is it canceled? Is it on hiatus? Is it whatever? And like, some people are saying that we weren't clear on that. Like, to be clear, where we're at now is like the show does not exist anymore. Like, the show is not a show that is going to be a consistent weekly thing. And if I'm being completely honest, I don't think it's ever going to be like that again. And there's a lot of reasons to go into that, but the least of which is Andy and Nick, who are what that show is, don't want to do that. So they don't want to do it, and like, that's okay. There's a lot of work that goes into it. And I think that, they much prefer to take that energy and passion and put it into one single thing. And that's what things like the Nug Dome and the event. So KFAF as a brand, will still exist, but I don't think it'll ever come back as a official weekly show. I know that's unfortunate news. I know that's not what anyone wants to hear. Trust me, it's not what I want to hear, but it is what it is. And I think that them, especially when you look at a lot of the Twitch streams they've been doing, like, you can get that energy in a lot of different places. It might not be exactly the same, but I'm extremely proud of the work that Andy and Nick have been doing on all the streams alongside Mike and stuff. So check that out. A lot of people asking, where's Cool Greg? Cool Greg's just been, keeping it chill. He's in the room right over there next to me. He's just editing it all day, getting the podcast uploaded, making sure the ads are right, like doing a lot of, if I'm being real, boring stuff, but he does it well. And he does it often because we do a lot of shows. There's a lot of uploads, and he just kind of does that. He's great. He's healthy. He's been working out a shit ton, running on the Peloton like a insane person. Like, we're talking like 15 miles a day sometimes. I'm like, bro, you're insane. So anyways, he has a fancy electric bike he's been rolling around on. Cool Greg's thriving right now, so don't worry about Cool Greg, everybody. Then people, Sapphire Diamond Ruby wrote in a very interesting question and said, hey all, I know this is supposed to be a content focused for the rest of the year, but I feel like this was appropriate place to ask. Has Kind of Funny considered taking steps to create your own Discord, Reddit, etc. communities that are official for the company? I know this would be a large undertaking considering how big Kind of Funny is, but I do feel this would be the best way to further facilitate in creating the community you're aspiring to be. Thank you for reading. Greg?
Thank you, Timothy. How are you? I assume this question crops up from the other day over on Reddit last week. Sometime we had not a flare up. It makes it sound, I think, too grandiose. But there was a whole push and pull conversation about criticism and being mean. And I thought some people had crossed the line in terms of personal attacks and going a little bit further. But in that whole thing, which you can go read about criticisms and stuff over there, I had made this comment, of course, of like, it's important to remember that, like, Reddit isn't even an official thing, like for Kind of Funny. And that's why before we've kind of, I think, taken a step back and not really gotten involved, because I never, even though we're mods on there, it's more ceremonial, right? I never want to, my fear, of course, is getting in there and being draconian, or people thinking we're overstepping the bounds and you can't talk about Kind of Funny, or, critique the content or whatever like that. And again, critiques of the content, I'm all about. You don't like the opinion. I don't know if you fucking noticed. I said the other day on PS I Love You, I said, the medium is 20 times the game of Resident Evil Village. You want to critique that? You want to go to the mat? It had something to say, people. That game had something to say. Village had nothing to fucking say. All right.
Now with I don't agree with that all, but with that, Greg, I do want to say I saw that, and oh my god, it boiled my blood. I'm like, this fucking idiot. Like, are you serious? I can't believe we would say this shit. And I wanted to respond to your tweet, and you know what I did? I didn't do that. I just took it in because I was like, I can call him out. I can have this conversation on a podcast. I can use these mean words and call you a fucking idiot. And there's a context to it that feels a little bit more appropriate. And then we can like talk it out. Like, everybody out there, sometimes just think about the medium, for lack of a better word.
Oh yeah. If we want to get into the negativity conversation about it, what I drove at, of course, is like, have empathy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's push and pull and all these different things. But remember, there's 11 of us and we're all doing our best to make this stuff. But we're also all doing a million other things and trying to do all the stuff. So if you don't want to agree with an opinion, you want to do with that, don't come in and dunk on us as people. Like, we're human beings that, of course, go and read all of this. We read all the comments because we're excited to share this with you and then have that conversation about why the medium is better than Village, which again is not me saying the medium is a 10. That's me saying that this 6.57 game, the medium is, I think Resident Evil Village is worse than that. Nothing to say. Generic. I digress. We'll argue about it later.
Yeah.
But to the point, to get us back on track, let's drive back onto Sapphire, Diamond, Ruby here. Of course, we've considered having our own forums, our own Discords, our own thing where like this is the official thing of Kind of Funny. The problem is that we are not big enough for that. That is not how the company's been able to work. And Joey, what's your title?
Who the fuck knows anymore?
Thank you, Joey. Joey, I think when we originally brought her in, we did her a huge disservice at one point of saying like, oh, and community management is underneath Joey. And people were like, oh, she's the community manager. Joey does 99% of her day having nothing to do with community management. It's the same way you were talking about Roger a second ago with what we hired him for, right? Oh, you'll do these weekly recaps. And then guess what? It turns out, no, actually, we need an editor for a million different things. Like, that's what you need to do, and we'll shift and do the whole thing. So Joey's been the touchstone before, because when we brought on Joey, right, it was just hosts. So who are you going to talk to when I'm in between shows and this is happening, yada, blah, blah, blah. But even that now, Joey's role has gone so crazy and different and so beneficial to us. Anyways, there's 11 of us. There is no official community manager, which in some ways is great because, of course, that means you talk to us. And this is the biggest thing about it, where it's like, you can tweet at me. And granted, the Twitter following has gotten bigger. I will see it to some degree. If you put a comment, I'm going to see it somewhere or whatever. Where I'm existing. Where Tim's existing. Where, and this is not a dig at all. Where Nick isn't existing. Nick isn't this social media guy, right? Nick likes to come out and produce content. Now he's gotten way better at Twitch and stuff, but he likes to speak to you through the podcast and through all this different stuff. There's all this happening, and how we handle it is an ever-shifting, ever-changing way. I like being able to go on the Reddit, see all the stuff, answer questions that are there, and then hopefully not get in the way of descriptions. I know a bunch of other people like to look at the Facebook group and go do that stuff. Again, those aren't official. We don't want to go in there and have an iron rule on it. And this always comes back to me, if you remember, if you're an old Kind of Funny fan, we had the forums, we had all these different communities, we had all this different stuff. And we had heard from the audience at the time, like, we would love forums. We would love forums. Gus Sorol at one point, when I tweeted publicly of like, where do you have a forum? I was like, oh, we have a Reddit. He was like, own and operate your own things. And so I think it was Kind of Funny Live 1, right? Where we were like, guess what? We got a forum, and we made the forum, and we went, did what you guys wanted, and walked away. And then the forum people got really angry because we weren't there. We weren't interacting. And it's like, oh, well, none of us are forum people. None of us want to be on this other, or want to be sit there and go through message boards. I don't use Reset Era that way, right? And it's not like forum people's a bad thing. It's like, how do you spend your hours, your available days and stuff? And especially in a small business, which we are, an incredibly small business, to go to the forums is to ignore this thing, is to like emails and yada, yada, yada. And I'm not saying hearing you guys doesn't matter. I'm just saying that it's not something we could handle appropriately. So that's why we deactivated the forums a long time ago, right? Where we had actually burned a lot of bridges with a lot of those people over there. And it breaks my heart that we did, because we didn't do it out of malice. We thought we were giving them the forums, and that's what they wanted. They wanted an avenue to us. And it's that thing of, okay, well, what is the avenue to kind of funny? And I think, it's right here in this, it's right here in the Twitch, it's right here on Patreon, it's over on Twitter. Like there's this various level. And one of the comments I was had from somebody over on Reddit last week about this was like, it wasn't angry. He was like, I think it's kind of messed up. You say this isn't official when this is the best way to talk to you guys without a paywall. And I was like, I don't buy that. Like, I understand that Patreon obviously is paywalled, but we look at the Twitch chat, we look at the comments, we look at the stuff. And I think the biggest thing I've tried to do in the past and clearly failed is take the feedback we get and then put it out into a podcast and talk about it there. Like, even it's very much like, even if you don't get the one-to-one, you tweet at me and I tweet back at you, I've seen your comment. And if it's something that is an issue that you think about the content or the community or whatever, I've seen it from other people and we try to go that way. And so, 2020 was the year of us really grabbing and be like, listen, we had this message in the beginning that was, if you're here, you're a best friend, but don't be an asshole. If you're an asshole, we don't want your money. We don't want your view. We don't want whatever. And we had said that. And we had then over the years implied it. And then over the years, it just became, hey, if you watch this, you're a best friend, which, led in the door to a bunch of people that didn't act the way Kind of Funny acts. And last year, 2020 is when we really grabbed it and wrote that letter and made a bunch of podcasts. We're like, listen, this has kind of gotten away from us. If you're here, you're a best friend, but it means you want to treat everybody with empathy. You want to have conversations. You want to fuck around with your best friends and have a good time. And that really course corrected. But when there are these flare-ups on the other things, it's me needing you guys to remember that. I always tell this story whenever I'm on a podcast, because even with, and I'm going to use air quotes, all the problems we have in our community, right? Those pale in comparison to the rest of the internet. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Kind of Funny best friends being good way outweighs any of the times there's an argument in the comments. There's an argument on the thing. There's people being mean. I don't ever want you to think we're painting with a broad brush here that our community is toxic. I think there's toxic elements every so often. I'm sure there are a few toxic people in it that are problematic. But what I'm saying is, every time I go on a podcast and I talk about it, I am told, or in private conversations, of how great our community is. It's why people want to work with us. It's why they want us to come be on their shows, because we bring you guys in and everybody has an actual conversation about what's going on, rather than this sucks, I hate this, blah, blah, blah. And I always go back to that one time on the subreddit. There was or maybe it's YouTube comments, don't recall anymore at this time, but it was a Kind of Funny piece of content, commenters going, and it was one guy, person A said something, person B said something bad, person A said something worse, and person B then was like, said something bad too. And like, who do you think who do you think you're talking to? And person A was like, I think I'm talking to a Kind of Funny best friend who's just like me. And person B came back and he said, you're right, we've gotten off track. Let's go back and try to fix this. And that was so heartwarming to me, right? You don't see that often. And even in our own community, you don't see that often. Where it is, for so many years, I've talked about don't feed the trolls. We ignore the thing, blah, blah, blah. Ignoring it lets it grow and be a part of it. I think it's powerful now to step in and be like, we don't do that here, right? That's just not what we do. And then don't engage with that person anymore. Go and engage with people who want to be positive. Go and engage with this. The amount of times my Twitter is going, and I look over on it and I see one person over and over again. I'm like, what is going on? And I click into it and it's them arguing with that you've muted this account. Like, it's not worth your time. Don't worry about that. Like, it's the same thing I was talking about recently on one of the shows, right? Of like, when there's that horrible take going around Twitter, the gaming discourse for the day, and everybody's quote tweeting it and dunking on it. And I know Khalif's always about it, like, stop giving this oxygen. Like, this is what that person wants. For me, it's always the other side of it. Think about it that way of, there are your favorite content creators. No, it doesn't matter how big you are. It doesn't matter if you're me. It doesn't matter if you're Jeff Keighley. It doesn't matter if you're Joey, who's a really popular TikToker. Austin Ray, right? Whoever
Close.
It is, no matter who it is, they want to see their content shared. And the problem is, of course, what we've always talked about is, you like something, you look at that something, and you close it, and you go about your day with that positive memory. You're not inclined to click retweet. You're not angry to make a comment. You're not this. So it is the negativity that gets drummed up all the time, where it is that, positivity needs to be celebrated more. And this is a very long, rambling question, I guess, or answer to your question, Sapphire, Diamond, Ruby, but it's a Greg Miller walk of, right now, we don't have our own Discord, Reddit, community, you name it. And obviously you're like, wait, I'm in the Kind of Funny Discord. I'm on the Kind of Funny subreddit. I'm on the Kind of Funny Facebook group. Yes, those exist. Yes, they are run by Kind of Funny best friends. Yes, I'd like to think they're all, in line with, hey, this is what Kind of Funny is. But it's important to point out they're unofficial, because I don't ever want it to be looked at as oh man, like Kind of Funny's fostering this community. They're letting this thing get it. Hopefully, if it ever got completely outrageous on one of those, we would hear about it, we would know about it, we would step in to do something like we did last week and try to shut it down to an extent. But the problem is that we are a small business, and that's just not something we can actually do at this time. I'm never ruling out the fact that I'm sure one day we will hire somebody who is just a community manager, who is just going to come into all these forums and either, make them official, make new things, go on in that way, stuff like that. But it is a push and pull for us of what to do. And I like to think that we talk to you through this. And I appreciate that there's Twitch. I appreciate that there's a Kind of Funny podcast. I appreciate that there's our personal Twitters where, we can go say that. You can go approach the person you want to talk to. But the problem is, like Tim was saying earlier, there are so many even if we were to say Patreon is the official forum or Kind of Funny, the official way to talk to us, right? There'd be so many people that never touch Patreon that wouldn't know about what the plan is for my kid. I'm always not mystified, but caught off guard by the thing that I think is second nature, because I've talked about it on Kind of Funny Games Daily. I've talked about it on PS I Love You, and I've mentioned on the Kind of Funny podcast that the person who listens to the Xcast and catches me on Twitch doesn't understand that I've said that before and I'm doing that thing. And it's not a bad thing. It just shows how vast our reach is and how many different places people consume us and get into the content. And that isn't me washing my hands of it. It's me looking for a solution. And as always, I would love to hear your solutions. I just don't think the solution is being like, we have an official, you name it. Because if we say we have an official, you name it, it's going to be like when we had official forums and we didn't use them because we don't use forums.
What this comes down to is there's not a right answer. There's a lot of wrong answers. And I think that that's where it's complicated. I know that a wrong answer is us making something official because we aren't the right people to do that, and we need to know that about ourselves, and we know that about ourselves. One day that might change, and just like the internet changes every single day, and just like I see these things happen all the time, and I don't even want to call them flare-ups. It's just people having conversations, and with every conversation, people might take something the wrong way and be upset or offended or whatever, and that's life. And with that, it's like even with us on the team, we don't all agree on how to deal with this stuff, but we have those conversations. So it's like, for any person out there that sees this and is just like, I think they overreacted or I think they underreacted, just know you're both totally valid in your opinions on that. And we all have different opinions, and we are coming together and trying to, as a group, make the best decision to move forward. So when you see our actions and when you see our inactions, when you see all that stuff, know that there's a conversation, many conversations happening in many forms. Joey, do you want to elaborate?
Oh yeah. It's just, I think the thing that I see that's most common is like, oh, I can't believe they're not saying anything about it. I guarantee you, anytime anybody has ever said that to any of us, we have had multiple conversations in big groups, small groups, in every kind of configuration possible about how to fix things. But like it, especially in this Corona time of like not all being together, those conversations don't happen as easily when we are all in the studio and we could all like pull 5 minutes together to get in one space and talk about things. Like it's more of a process for us to figure out now. So it's a lot. It's
Go for it, Craig, you muted.
Your Discord muted.
Why does it do that? It doesn't matter. Yeah, I think I honestly probably know is that I click over to do something in Slack and it doesn't fill, so I hit whatever. No, I think that's an interesting and great point too. Of right, the struggle I have too is I can't believe they haven't said something about this and how nebulous that is. And again, I realize that I'm super outspoken on numerous platforms or whatever, but I would hope on so many things that when something bad happens, when something horrible happens, when it turns out somebody we've had on a show before is not a great person, don't get me wrong, I shouldn't even say that, I guess. I would like to think it goes without saying that I don't need to come out and be like, that is unacceptable, because I would hope you know that I'm Greg Miller, and treating anybody less than how you want to be treated is unacceptable. If you are going to be a fucker as a boss, as a person, as a friend, as a whatever, fuck off. Like, you know what I mean? What the fuck's wrong with you? And that's a lot. You're talking to the guy who fucking thinks about what would Superman do every day. Like, that's my standard, right? And so I understand that, like, there's a time to speak up and a time not to. But when something's happening and it's emotional for me, even to immediately have it is Kind of Funny going to put a statement on that. And I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying it hits back on me in a weird way of like, oh man, fuck. Like, do people really not know that I would be against this? Do people really not know that I think this is fucked up? So many in those times, right? What I default to is retweeting the voices in that conversation that matter. I'd rather use my platform that way to say, hey, here's this person who's directly affected, who is a survivor, is, down the line of it. I'm going to retweet them to show that this is where I stand. I stand with these people. But how do you go about that? And is that the right way or wrong way? That's a different conversation for a different way. But again, what I'm saying is, if somebody's a motherfucker, fuck them.
Amen.
Yeah. And just a reminder, especially with like the bigger things that have been happening over the years, like those all affect us on a personal level that like I feel like we all talk to each other and like care about each other, like to make sure that each other are okay when all of this stuff is happening. And so like that is kind of the first and foremost priority before we even talk about making like formal statements and stuff about things. So like,
I mean, I'm just gonna say it. Like last week, right before Games Daily, I had a straight up panic attack. I didn't know that was possible for Tim Geddes. I did burst into tears. Blessing and Kevin right into the pre-show, and we're just about to go live. And Kevin was like, "Tim, you okay?" And him asking me that question broke me.
You're like, no, I am not.
I'm not okay at all. I'm not okay at all. There's so much that I need to deal with, all the normal stuff. But like, I care so much. Greg cares. Joey cares. The entire fucking team cares. And we've had hours of phone calls and text messages and Slack messages that like, that's just how it feels. Like we have to start our day so often is this, like, I don't even want to call it a negative place. It's just this place of like, responsibility of like, hey, we need to deal with this. We need to figure this out. We are the people that need to make these decisions, and everyone's telling us what to do, and they're all saying different things. And I just want everyone to know we're trying really hard, and we've gotten a lot better at it over the years. Being able, like when Greg puts out a letter, like that letter speaks for Kind of Funny. That is not just Greg. That letter is us coming together, having conversations, and Greg is just way better spoken than I am for sure. So he just like kind of can get our message across in a way that you can read it and be like, I get what you're saying here, and that we can all stand by. And again, it's one of those things where I might not agree with every single choice that we make as a team, but that's what being a team is. It's compromise and understanding that even though you think you're right, someone else thinks they're right too, and that you need to take into consideration and sometimes allow them to just have that. And I hope that I'm making my point correctly here. It's just like, we are really trying. I hope that it's clear in the way that Greg just said that, he would hope that the way he acts speaks for itself. I hope that for all of us, that is true. And that we are really, really, really trying. And I think 100%. That we've been nailing it. Honestly, I think we've been doing really good. Not flawless by any stretch of the imagination, but I am very impressed with how good of a job and how nimble we can be. But it takes its toll. It takes its toll on each and every one of us in so many different ways. And if the last couple of years are a sign, which they are, that's not going to slow down. It's only going to speed up. The world's a shitty place, and we're trying to make it a better one. And when you're putting your foot down, trying to say be better, that's going to ask for a lot of challenges, and we're up to the challenge, but it's hard. It doesn't make it not challenging. So anyway, I love you guys, and I appreciate you all.
We love you and appreciate you too. And I think that's the thing, right? Again, back to the small business thing and how we've done such a great job, and this isn't a pat on the back, I swear. We've done such a great job of making it seem like Kind of Funny is such a big deal. And Don't get me wrong, Kind of Funny is a huge deal. We've had our fucking logo on the E3 show floor, and we've hosted this, and we did the Final Fantasy thing, and we just did this amazing partnership with Chris Dynamics and Square Enix for Avengers. And like, don't get me wrong, or the way to see this fucking studio, we're a big deal. We get it. We are, I don't mean to be a dick, but on the level of a IGN, a GameSpot, what I mean? We're thought of in the same way in that industry, not on Reset Era for some reason, but I digress. But fucking post the reviews when we put up the review. Anyways, though, the point is though that behind the scenes it's 11 of us, and it is that when Tim and I are on the phone at 6:30 at night because we were just about to go pivot to being fiance and husband and go have a life and have a beer, and then it's like this happened, and it means that's our life now. That's our life throughout the evening into the morning into whatever, and so that's what it is. And I think I don't ever want that to be lost. I hope we make it clear, but I don't want people to lose sight of the fact that we are human beings trying to do the best we can. And we are a small team trying to do the best we can. And that does mean that, we're going to miss the mark sometimes. And we're going to have conversations about it. And everything we're saying today, I want to hear your feedback on it. I want to know what's going on about
100%.
But while you were doing that, Tim, I did write a letter for Kind of Funny. Hey, we at Kind of Funny say a lot of things, but we need to stand for something. That's why we're writing this letter to say the medium is better than Resident Evil Village. Signed Kind of Funny. Post.
It's not 20% the game that the medium is. Oh my God. Okay. People wrote in and said, what's the best way to support Kind of Funny? Twitch sub, Patreon. I'm assuming it's the same money tier. The answer is the same as it's always been for us. support us whatever way benefits you the most. If I'm being completely honest, it's like, yeah, obviously money benefits us a lot, but what benefits us more is just you watching, just you engaging. Honestly, you
Share it.
of you sharing is the most
God,
important thing.
please share it.
But you actually being there, watching the content when we put new stuff out, like giving it a shot, and even if it might not be for you in the beginning, like stick with it a little bit, especially for new shows like Blessing Show. Like if you could tell that a show has more work put into it than normal, those are the things that need the most eyes. And I understand that it's like, well, if it's not for you, it's not for you. That's okay. I'm answering the question how to best support us. And the best way to support us is to give us a shot, because we do not put things out that we don't believe in. We do not have people on our shows that we do not believe in. If we are making these choices, it's because we think it's going to pay off for you guys. We think that even if there's going to be a time to like get used to it, like to fit into what the content is, whether it is the style of show or who the guest is, whatever it is, like we're making these choices because we care about you guys and because we read all the feedback. And so, yeah, that to me, I would say is the best way to support. In terms of really answering your question about the financials of it, honestly, man, Patreon or Twitch are great. I personally would prefer Patreon just because I feel like there's a lot that we're offering there. And I think there's a lot of stuff that people don't even realize they could get on Patreon. And if I'm being completely honest, the live chat on our YouTube live Patreon videos is like probably my favorite sub community that Kind of Funny has. You know, I know we're not supposed to have favorite kids, but they're definitely my favorite kids. And then
He'll be part of that sub community with the Gamescast today. It's going to be a banger.
Yes, exactly. And then two more questions.
No, but
here.
no, we can't. There's
Oh, damn right.
no
Today's
live games
embargo.
today.
Crap.
And then we got Alex Garate wrote in and said, are there plans to bring back shirts for the Platinum Patreon tier? I really like the shirt designs and I'm not much of a print guy. I understand COVID probably made things really difficult. I'm just wondering if they would come back eventually. Joey.
Yes. I would like to also give a shout out to the prints that we've done this year, which have been really, really fun to work on. Like, I feel like we finally kind of found a rhythm of like working with community artists. Rain's been really awesome. We've had Alice come in. We have maybe some other people coming in for the rest of the year. You don't even know. I don't know. I have not reached out to Corey Barlog to see if he's free for a commission. I'll add him to my potential list. How about that?
If he just drew stick figures of us, I think it'd be pretty popular.
Yeah. The problem that's happening with shirts and just apparel all over the place is that COVID has fucked up a lot of production pipelines. So like Andy's talked about it on his streams of like Bonfire sometimes will have stuff and sometimes they won't. And that goes for suppliers and stuff that we do too. When things get back to normal and things are more consistent, we definitely do want to do that. And I have some ideas. Tim and I were talking ironically right before this question popped up about what I potentially maybe want to do for next year, assuming that things get fixed. But yeah, we do want to do it, but apparel and all of that stuff is kind of in a tricky situation. Yeah, the benefit, yeah, there's so many different layers that go into it and what we offer and in what sizes and what cuts and all that kind of stuff is a lot of things for my brain to handle.
We want shirts too.
All the other stuff. Yeah.
We want shirts too.
Cool
and
stuff.
the shirts will be back as soon as they possibly can be. So
The shirts will return in post.
Yes.
We have a couple of cool lines dropping with Rooster Teeth before the end of the year. So keep an eye out for that. We're working on it.
Hell yeah. And then the final question is XCast a permanent show? Yes, it is. I'm surprised that so many of you asked this question. But yeah, XCast is going to be a show that is as permanent as any of the rest of our lineup, which if I'm being honest, I feel pretty solid in where we're at with our podcast lineup, which is currently Kind of Funny Games Daily, Kind of Funny Gamescast, PS I Love You, XOXO, a PlayStation podcast, Kind of Funny XCast, an Xbox podcast, Kind of Funny podcast, Kind of Funny in Review, and Kind of Funny Screencast. So those are the 7 different shows that you can subscribe on all the different feeds, and we'd appreciate it a lot. And yeah, I imagine that at least going into 2021, those shows are all safe. The Tim Reaper won't hit them yet, but there will be changes. I guess one last thing I want to say before we wrap this up is a lot of the choices we made in terms of doubling up in review, doubling up KF podcasts and stuff were made for our working from home, as well as the everyday doing the Twitch streams and stuff. We don't have an answer for what it's going to look like in 2022, so stay tuned for the Kind of Funny day. But rest assured, we are making all of the best choices we possibly can, and I think you guys are really gonna like it.
I want to apologize to everybody who didn't realize the XCast was a permanent show. It's probably a lack of a great host. You know what I mean? Probably the guy who's there leading that charge just can't make it.
Yeah.
He can yell about so many different things, but he can't.
But when he's muted in the Discord
I'm waiting
channel,
for Mike to unmute himself in this call and yell at me. Now it's really me.
Mike's been sitting in here the entire call waiting for the stream.
The bomb I dropped blew back on me. I got caught up in my own fallout. We love Mike. Mike's an amazing host.
Well, anyways, thank you guys all. Honestly, I appreciate you all so much, again, for your patience, for your understanding, for your excitement for everything that we're doing. And, when we're excited about stuff, you guys are excited about stuff. And that has always been the case since we started so many, many years ago. We're about to enter a whole new era of Kind of Funny, both Greg becoming a father, which what the fuck does that mean for all of us? You know what I mean? We're about to have a kid in our lives. I've never had a kid in my life.
A lot of babysitters.
Yeah, that's insane. That's scary. Don't say that. And then of course the studio. That really, you guys, you made it all happen, and it's going to blow your minds. I could not hype it up enough. It really is. It's really something special. But thank you all for your time today. Greg's about to play some War for Wakanda. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Snow Like Mike says he's gonna play with me. I'll believe it when I see it.
Very cool. Very cool. But anyways, I love you all. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.